me today is Mike SIMM, Deputy Chairman of Turunanga a Iwi or Ngāpui's commercial arm, Ngāpui Asset Holding Company. He's also Chairman of Kerikeri Retirement Village, and he has recently started a new biking and hiking tour business, Northland Experiences, using the Twin Coast Cycle Trail. He's a trustee of several not-for-profit organizations and a Justice of the Peace. In 2012, he was inducted into the Northland Chamber of Commerce Hall of Fame, which recognizes those who've made a significant contribution to the region during their business career. Welcome, Mike, and thanks for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Peter. I'm well, thank you. Interesting times, but I'm confident that we're going to come out of this having learned some lessons. And as people have said in the past, if you can use a good crisis as a learning experience, then all is not lost.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. So, Mike, what's keeping you busy at the moment, work-wise?
Well, I've got a number of different activities. You know, the big risk is the retirement village in Kerikeri and how old people might be affected by the COVID-19 virus. So that's always on my mind, as it is for many people. And it's also emphasises the dilemma we've got about health issues on the one hand and the economic pressures on the other about getting under control and getting back to a reasonable level of activity.
Okay, well, talking about that, you know Northland inside out. What do you think it's going to take to haul our region out of recession?
Well, I think the first thing is, as I said right at the start, is learning some new habits from what we've been through in the last few weeks. Because I think that period's shown us that we can actually do things more effectively in some areas than we have done in the past because of this special situation. We can collaborate better. We can cut through a whole lot of bureaucracy and unnecessary processes better when we're under pressure. And I'm very keen to make sure that we capture those learnings and apply them to the future. So we'll be more efficient and more productive as a result. So we're going to have to be more agile, and in particular, we're going to have to be prepared to retrain, to pick up, to use the skills we've had in the past and use them to pick up other skills that are going to be more applicable to different industries. So in the North, it's about picking what those industries are and how we can be better at them. And I think one of them that we've got to really put in focus is horticulture and how we can pick up on our growing investment and profile in horticulture in New Zealand, where we've got good growing conditions, we've got good science, big players, seeker and turners and growers, and a growing avocado market, for example, but also other areas of blueberries and other crops that are starting to become important to the Northland offering, as well as capitalising on the good results we're getting from kiwi fruit, gold, and hopefully red in the future.
So you're talking largely about sort of investing in industries which have had a sort of a nascent beginning already in Northland, but which you're talking about perhaps accelerating our investment and our development of these industries in order to become less one-dimensional, less dependent on a very limited number of industries that we've been dependent on so far.
Yes, I am, but also from an employment point of view, I think there are growing employment opportunities there at all levels, and we need to be smart about that and align and be adaptable and make sure that we're taking up the opportunities that are going to come from that and don't allow them to be taken up by, in some instances, by immigrant workers coming in, and at the other end of the scale by people who are highly qualified in agri-science coming into the region. I think we've got to make sure that our best and most capable people are taking up those jobs that are going to be world-class jobs. On the tourism side, we've got to be smart about how we're going to respond to this obvious decline in tourism. Tourism has been a very important sector for Northland. It's not going to be the same as it was for quite a while with a lack of overseas tourists. So people are talking about domestic tourism, and we've got to be smart about the way in which we promote Northland as an attractive domestic tourism destination from the day that the lockdown becomes released and through the next 12 to 24 months. So I'm quite positive.
Do we need to expand the tourism product, Mike? Do we need to grow the range of things for people to see and do here, or are we okay? I mean, the stuff that we've got has been around for decades, and I'm just wondering whether we need to be a little more creative in the same way as you've done with Northland Experiences, perhaps, in using the resources that we've got.
Yes, well, I think Northland Experiences has shown to me that the resources are there. The Hokianga experience that we have in half of our tour is just amazing, but it's very, very underdeveloped. So I don't think it's necessarily about new product. I think we've got wonderful natural products, great characters, heritage and cultural elements that are embedded in the Northland experience. And it's about trying to package those up in an attractive way so we can compete well with other regions for this feast. It's going to be about domestic tourism. We're all going to be trying to get.
Yeah, I like that. I like a little bit of optimism at this point. Mike, what should local and regional government be doing across the region to make all of this happen, do you think?
Well, I think they, as much as anyone, have learnt in this crisis time that things can be done a lot more decisively and a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And the ultimate goal for me would be that they see this as a way, as a lead into modifying the Resource Management Act. But that's sort of at the highest level. At the lower level, it's about seeing how we can collaborate and make decisions quicker by communicating in this new digital format, recognising that there have been a whole lot of practices that have been allowed to develop over time, but this crisis has shown us that many of them are not necessary. We can actually cut through a lot of that bureaucratic decision-making process and get to the end a lot quicker. We've proven that to ourselves in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So the learnings from this crisis, some of them should be embedded in the way of the future, and we shouldn't be just saying the lockdown's over now, we go back to the way we were doing it before, back to normal.
So on the other side of the coin, Mike, what do you think that Northland businesses themselves need to be doing to ensure that the regional economy emerges from this well and ultimately stronger than before we went into it?
Well, I think we've got to learn from the collaborative behaviour that we've seen through the crisis. We could always do more there. We've got to support each other. So I think spending money locally has always been important, but it's even more fundamental now.
Okay, coming out of this sort of immediately, what do you think the impact is going to be on our region? I mean, in terms of jobs, in terms of employment, what are we going to look like short term? It's going to be pretty ugly, isn't it?
I think it is, because this complete close down is unprecedented. So people are going to have to get confidence again to invest again. So I suspect that either we're going to have to get some more government subsidy, which I think should be in the form of cash flow issues, really. I think that we should be able to defer payment of GST payments, provisional tax payments for a while, just till we get back on our feet. And I'm hoping that businesses will keep as many people as they can employed, but maybe have to work on a 4-day week or a 30-hour week or something, so that everyone gets involved, everyone can contribute in a more collaborative way, so we can all help to get back up to full speed again.
Yeah, a little bit of creative thinking on how we might sort of move forward and get to the point where we're a little bit more confident about the economy and our ability to generate a recovery.
Yes, and I wonder whether there might be some ways in which the local government could use some local businesses a bit better in terms of doing some jobs that are perhaps on the horizon, but haven't been prioritised because of local government resources.
Okay, and what do you think? I mean, this broadcast is aimed largely at Northland business leaders like yourself. What do you think your colleagues around the region should be doing as a collective to help haul us back out of the COVID ditch? Have you had any discussions with any other business leaders about what all of you might be doing as a team after this?
Well, I would like to see a group of private sector business people have a much closer connection with the Far North District Council, local government, because I think we've proven that there are a whole lot of opportunities or delayed or scheduled jobs out there that are held up for all sorts of reasons that we've shown over the last few weeks don't necessarily have to take as long to resolve as they have done in the past.
Yeah.
And central government's looking at that with Mark Binns' group trying to accelerate major projects, which in his view are being held up for unnecessary bureaucratic reasons. I think we could do the same thing on a local government scale here by getting local business leaders to identify those things and work with local government to see how they could be accelerated. We've got to sell ourselves as being world-class, being different, being unique, and something that's going to make people feel really good about themselves and their country.
And I think that those are wise words, and I think they carry across sectors, across industries, and across organizations. Mike SIMM, thank you very, very much indeed for joining me today. It's a pleasure as always. Tell us where we can go to see the Northland Experiences product. Mike, what's your website address?
The website is www.northlandexperiences.co.nz.
Superb, Mike. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.